Compared to a lot of pieces of the writing process, formatting is really easy. It doesn't require creativity, and usually the guidelines are given to you. You just have to follow them. Still, by the time you get to the end of your paper, you've been working really hard, and trying to get the formatting just right can feel frustrating. You might even be tempted to just skip it. You shouldn't, and in this video, we're going to talk about why. First, let's make sure we're on the same page when it comes to the word formatting. Formatting refers to a few different things. There's the spacing, the space between the lines and the margins. There is the font, its size, its color, and its style. There is the heading and title page, and then there are any citations that you use if your paper included research. You may be wondering how important formatting really is. You have already put all of the ideas in place in your paper. You've worked hard to get rid of typos and write strong sentences. Does it really matter how the paper is formatted? The answer is sometimes. If you're working on an informal writing assignment, let's say notes for yourself or a quick reading reflection, formatting might not be a big deal. But if you're working on the final draft of an academic paper, format is important. Think about it this way. It's like if you showed up at a job interview and you were a great candidate. You would really be awesome at this job. But you're wearing pajamas covered in ketchup stains. Fair or not, the appearance will be a distraction from your ideas. Okay, let's take a look at my sample paper here. I have written it well. Let's say the ideas are really good. I don't have any misspelled words or grammatical errors. I've worked hard to put incredible sources. This has been a lot of work and I'm really proud of it. But if I turn it in looking like this, it isn't going to look like an academic paper is expected to look. My teacher might not even pay attention to my good ideas because they'll be distracted by the appearance. So let's fix it. For this paper, I know what I'm supposed to use for the formatting because I have been given some instructions. So here are the instructions the teacher gave me. I need to double space my lines, indent my paragraphs, use a standard font size and style, use MLA citations, use standard margins, use MLA style heading and title page. So let's take those one by one. Right now, my lines are not double spaced. There's only one space, a single space between the lines. So what I can do is just highlight everything. And I'm using Microsoft Word, but this is true of any formatting that you would do in Google Docs or in Pages, whatever you're using. And I'm going to go up here and click this button, and I'm going to tell it that I want it to be double spaced. All right, so now I've double spaced my lines. We go down here and look at what is next. I'm supposed to indent my paragraphs, okay? This one is indented, but this one is not. So I'm going to go ahead and indent that paragraph. And this one is not, so I'm going to go ahead and indent that paragraph. So now I am being consistent and I've indented all of my paragraphs. Next, I'm supposed to use standard font size and style. So I really liked my purple fancy writing, but it's not right for an academic paper. If I were doing something more creative maybe, or if I were writing like for a magazine that I wanted to format it to look more interesting, but for an academic paper, I really don't want to get too fancy with it. So I'm going to turn it back to black. 12 point is the standard, so I'm going to make it 12. And as interesting as this Kristen is, it's not a standard font, so I am going to turn it into Calibri as a standard font. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Okay, it's starting to look a little more academic. Looks like I got some extra spaces between these. It's only supposed to be double spaced, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Now I'm supposed to use MLA style citations. This is only if you have research in your paper, but if you do have research, you're going to want to make sure your citations are right. And I've included citations. I have a paraphrase here, and I've told my reader that it's from Winslow Smith, and I've told them that it's from this website. So I did not plagiarize because I have marked where the source came from. However, I also am not using MLA style citations because this is not what they look like. So for MLA style, it should just be the author's last name and a page number. And let's say that this one didn't have an author, and that's why I just stuck the URL there. Instead, I'm going to call it a shortened version of the title. But I'm not done with my citations because this is just the in-text citation part. So I will have to go down at the end of my paper, and on a new page after my paper is completely finished, I will need to create a works cited page. And I have a different video about how to create MLA style works cited pages, but for right now, it's just important to know that I will need a works cited page that lists all of my sources at the bottom of my paper if I have if I have citations in the paper. Okay, so I've double spaced the lines, I've indented the paragraphs, I've changed it to a standard font size and style. I used MLA citations. I never messed with the margins to begin with, so the margins are already standard. Usually, if you just leave margins alone on whatever you're using to write your paper, it's fine. But if you do want to see those margins, you can go up to Layout, and click margins, and I'm just using normal 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. That is the standard margin size. Usually you just never need to mess with that. And then I need to use an MLA style heading and title page. So in MLA, they don't make a separate title page. They just include the title at the top of the first page. So I'm going to put it right here. Going to center it, and I'm going to put it as the best paper. Also in MLA style, they tend to have a heading, which would have my name. I'm going to say that my name is Jane Doe, and so let me mark that with student name so that you can remember what each of these are. And then it's your instructor name, and then it is the class that you're in, and then it is today's date. And MLA uses this weird style where you put the date first and then the month and then the year. So you can put it like that. And then you want to make sure that this is, again, only one space between. So this is the standard. This is called the heading for MLA style. You only put this on the first page. You only put the title on the first page. But then in MLA style, we do also use headers. So those are, go up, double click up here in the header, you right align the page number, and then before the page number, you type in your own last name. And then that's going to put it on every page so that it's marked with your name on each page. So let me double check my list again. I have double spaced my lines. I have indented my paragraphs. I've used a standard font size and style. I've fixed my citations. I've used standard margins, and I've included a MLA style heading and title page. So I have properly formatted this paper. And if I turn it in looking like this, it's going to be taken a lot more seriously than it would be. These actually should not be indented. It's going to be taken a lot more seriously than it would be if I had turned in that original one that was all purple and weird font, and I have made it look like an academic paper now. So this is what my teacher is going to be expecting to see if they have assigned an academic assignment. Now, you've seen what to do when you have specific formatting instructions, but what if your teacher didn't include a list like that? Well, the first thing you could do is ask your teacher, but maybe you've been pushed up against the deadline and you don't have time to wait for a response and you've got to turn something in. If that's the case, here's a set of pretty standard formatting guidelines you could use for an academic paper. Most academic papers are going to use double-spaced lines. Most of them are going to use a 12-point standard font. Most of them will include a centered title. Usually you indent your paragraphs, and if you aren't sure which citation style to use, just pick one and be consistent throughout the paper.